So hello, Kickstarter Nation. How can you not like me with a dog in my lap? Part of my strategic quotes here, babysitting Zeus. I'm gonna let him go down. He doesn't look too happy, but I got the point across. We're friendly people. It's been a really busy week here so far for the NES Club, and now that we've got the word out, practically spamming Facebook and Twitter and some of the forums, we can finally kind of calm down a bit and really get to the entertaining part, the goods and stuff. I got Jay with me here again, as you can see on the big screen.
Hey, Rob.
What's up, man? Nice to have you back. Even though a bit of a different time zone, we both had a pretty busy day. Like I said, it's been a really busy online session. We've been hitting the forums a lot. But today, you went garage sale previewing. Tell us how that is, because that's something that might factor into what you got to do for your 30 days.
I'll tell you, I hope it doesn't come down to that, because me and my buddies were out from 7 a.m. till about noon. And through our whole treks, we found a PS2 Slim for 50 cents and a couple of God of War 1 and 2s for $1. And game-related, that was it. So if it comes down to that, I think I might be in trouble.
So 5 hours and kind of like previous gen, almost 2 gens removed now content. Definitely no Super NES or 64.
No, nothing like that remotely. Nothing past or beyond PS2, yeah, nothing.
Speaking of games, before I forget, it's not even on the agenda stuff that I wanted to talk to you about. My grandparents in London, who live close to you, actually unearthed all my NES games, so it was cool to see all that stuff, because I didn't know where they were, and there was some N64 games there too. I had the red card of Mission Impossible, this game called Winback that I used to really like. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. And, of course, the gold Ocarina of Time cart, Mario Party 2 or 3, I think, WrestleMania 2000 black cart. I don't know if those are worth anything or not. Maybe I'll check out the app from puregaming.org, those same guys that do our NES Collector app. But it was really cool to kind of see all those and get flooded with memories just from pictures of all those carts. And, of course, on my NES carts. I think I had 16 of them, but I couldn't find Mario 3, so I don't know if I loaned it out. I think one of our buddies probably borrowed it for a while, but I'm not too sure. It could be actually in my NES too. So let's get right to the big news, man.
Sure.
Hey, Susie. The big news is going on these forums and stuff.
Dogs.
Nintendogs. Hey, Nintendogs. Going on the forums and stuff, man. There was this one forum where, I basically do the normal pitch. Yeah, and that's one guy, 30 days, 700 games. He's going to be the first in the record books to have it all documented. The first one to have a complete collection, and everybody jumps on us right away. They start outlining, boom, 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 and we'll get to the specific collections and stuff like that. Yeah. I got a list of like 25 people that were part of this specific forum that apparently have complete collections. Let's just talk about that right now. What do you think about people having complete collections?
I think it's wicked. I mean, it really gives our mission hope, because it can be done.
Right.
And that's very exciting. So, I mean, this isn't going to be a world record, but I think, one, it's going to be the first time it's all been documented on film.
Yeah.
And again, I can't stress, it's only 30 days. I don't have endless time to do this. So there's that time limit stress factor as well, which I think is really going to make things exciting.
Yeah, and sorry, I got to apologize. I'm getting swarmed by 2 dogs for babysitting here for the long weekend. I got to tell you, what I like about this is the first question we always get, or the first kind of tone that we get when we put this out there to the fan community. And, I got to say, I totally welcome any discussion on this, because I want people to point out any flaws in what we're doing, poke holes now, because this is the time where we can kind of change it. So please be an active participant in this. This is why we're doing these updates, to be open. But 60% of the stuff out there that we start off with is skepticism of, do you have the whole collection? Is it even possible to get them all? Do they all even exist? So we know 20 people have this whole collection. So that gets rid of like over half the questions that we constantly get. I want to talk about some of the other questions that I get, and I'm just looking at my list here.
Sure, yeah.
Are we going to plant stuff in stores as we go around?
That's I don't want to laugh at it, because, I mean, that's your first reaction. When all these shows like Pawn Stars and American Pickers and all that stuff got really big.
Storage Wars,
Storage Wars, that's the first thing everybody thinks.
Yeah.
And I have to say, absolutely not. I mean, I have 100, 150 NES titles in my collection. I
Yeah.
can't use any of them, and some of them are really, really rare too. I
Yeah, I
can't
mean,
use
I
any
see
of
him. I see him kind of behind you back there, and let's
yeah,
clarify that. That was another question
yeah,
later. Yeah, we've seen your collection behind you before. None of that counts. You're starting from scratch because we're trying to
no,
see if you can go from 0 to 709 in 30 days.
exactly.
That's the
And
point.
I might point out too, I am by no means an actor. So if anything is planted, like if people think it might be, it'll be quite obvious right off the bat because I can't act at all. So there you go.
Yeah, and I'm not interested in capturing that. I'm a
Yeah,
filmmaker. My career's on the line. If this goes forward,
absolutely.
you're judged by like your last kind of film. Whether that's
Yeah,
good or bad. And I don't want to be the guy who's like hamming it up and having acting and stuff. And
yeah,
then the amount of setup it takes to go into a store, plant something, and make the owner in that store disingenuine. You don't think that kind of stuff's going to get around? I'm not interested in that at all. I'd rather have you go in a store. I'd rather have you finish the 30 days. Sorry, man. I'd rather have you finish the 30 days with only 200 carts, and you couldn't find 500. That's more interesting to me than having you find all these rare games every stop of the way. I'm not interested in that.
and I will say that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the film as well because it is a documentary and it's a real journey and it's something that I personally want to do. So if I go and plant all these games, I mean, there's no point to it. Like, what? Why am I doing this? For,
Yeah, we're just wasting all their times and a lot of money. I mean, that our Kickstarter goal is 15 grand,
Yeah.
and I'm still probably going to end up putting my own money, and other people are going to give us a break on this, that, and the other. But speaking of Kickstarter, obviously our Kickstarter must be going to fund your collection, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
what it is? I hate to sound skeptical, but guys, you got to read beyond the headlines. This is going towards the production of the film. Jay, how long have you been saving already?
Um, well, I mean, we came up with this idea pretty quick last month.
Yeah,
So, and again, I'll stress, I am not rich. I have a regular day job like everybody else. I have a bit of a bank account, but not much. So I'm really sacrificing a lot. Like I collect almost daily.
yeah,
I've made a goal to myself that I can't buy any games until we start shooting in August.
right.
So I mean, all today we went to all the game shops in London here too, and there's a lot of great stuff, a lot of new collections released. I didn't buy a thing because I have to save every single penny.
Right.
Again, the Kickstarter funding is for the production. It has nothing to do with me. Again, it wouldn't be realistic. It wouldn't be a real experience. Right?
Okay,
So
so let me throw this at you because I think we've tried to mention it in every video and we'll probably have to do it and that's cool. I'll keep reminding it because
yeah,
it's like he won't be able to do it or there's already people that got it or you guys are going to plant it and you're just trying to fund collecting. Okay, we've tackled all those obvious ones. The one that kind of hit me, which was interesting that I didn't even think of and maybe I should have is there's a bunch of game hunting vids on YouTube. How is this different? What do you think about that?
what do I think about that? I love all those videos. I
Yeah, me
mean,
too.
there's absolutely no doubt that they're a huge inspiration. But I
Yeah.
mean, that's a good thing. I mean, where ours I think is different is that it's a 30-day challenge. It's not to take away from anybody's show or anything like that. I mean, it's just it's a tip of the hat to them. I think, really.
Yeah, and for me, just to even go beyond, this is a documentary. This isn't me
Yeah,
following you around just as you buy games. I'm trying to make a social commentary on the video
yeah,
game culture and collectors and the whole 8-bit kind of revolution, the revolution, the retro revolution. And you don't get that in shows like Pawn Stars. You get cool history facts and stuff, but what is it
yeah.
saying more than on the surface of people trying to make money for stuff they found in their attic and stuff like that? I'm trying to give a message with this, and that's why it's a 90-minute one-off and not a television series following you around. Like you said, man, huge fan of that stuff, but I'm really trying to go a little bit beyond and give a deeper message to this. Here's a question you'll love, and we've answered it a few times already.
Yeah.
What carts are you doing? Are Nintendo World Championships, stadium events? Why don't we tell everybody one more time what's on the list?
The Nintendo World Championships is not on the list.
Right.
These are the Nintendo seal of approval stamped NES games. That's it.
Right.
So much to my chagrin, stadium events is on that list.
Yeah,
There's been a lot of comments about that. Oh, he'll never find that. He'll never get that. And maybe that's where a lot of the planting conversations have come into play. And I'll tell everybody out there right now, I do not own stadium events. I wish I did, but I do not. That's going to be. It's no surprise to anyone out there who knows about NES collecting. That's going to be the game.
yeah, but like,
Whether I find it off a private collector or whether I find it out in some obscure shop, that's going to be the one.
yeah, but you dodge one bullet with NWC, but you still got stadium events, so it's not like it's going to be hard. You can still find it if somebody's on Craigslist or eBay or something like that. Hang on, Zeus. Hang on, buddy. So you can still arrange for it. It's going to be some monetary thing, and we might have to make some phone calls to find it. But yes, you have to get it.
Yes, I do.
Jay, back to the history thing. One of the big things in our write-up on Kickstarter was, Jay has a chance to get in the history book. History waits for no one. You can be the first documented collection, and that may well be the case. And we'll get to a little bit more about that. Let's say that history, that's not the factor. Why are you doing this, man? What's the point?
For me, it's just like I said in the Kickstarter video. It's going to be fun. I mean, you came to me with this challenge, and I just right off the bat, I'm like, what a great idea! It's a great idea. It's going to be fun to get out on the road, and it's going to be fun to buy 700 plus games. Let's be honest. I mean, I'll be like a kid in a candy store, right? It's a personal goal for me, just to prove to myself that I can do it. I mean, in 30 days, to get up and actually have a goal and just stay focused on it. I mean, that's really important to me. Yeah, so it's a personal goal, in short. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have these bucket lists. Oh, like I want to go skydiving, or I want to go to Vegas and meet the wizards and stuff like that. But it's like, get off your couch and do it. Now you're doing it. This is what you want. Sure, it's video games, but it could be anything. For me, it's still about documenting the collecting process. Like I said before, examining the video game culture, looking at gamers. But I also want to look at gaming now versus then. And why are we coming back? It's like, when that NES first launched, it created a huge ripple, a wave through the industry. Like when you drop a stone in the water, it kind of ripples out. But at a certain point, you hit shore, and that ripple starts coming back. And that's where we are now. Gaming is so stale that people are going back to those old games, and I want to look at why. Marshall McLuhan, not to get too highbrow, who's an excellent scholar, I believe Canadian too, has a great quote saying, the games a people play reflect who they are. So what is that saying about us, that even though we got all these great technology and stuff like that, we're cramming back to a better time, a more simpler kind of gameplay? So that's kind of the stuff that I want to look at and share. And that's what I mean, the difference between what we're trying to do and some of those vids on YouTube that are still great, but I'm trying to bring extra layers and stuff like that. And a total side note, a lot of people on YouTube try to post their high scores and, their time challenges. Do you think that really stopped the guys who are behind King of Kong from making a film about two people trying to get the best Donkey Kong score? No, there was something there, man. You love that doc, I love that doc.
Yep.
So this is kind of the same thing. This supersized me in the sense that you got 30 days to do something. King of Kong, and that it's about gaming. I would kind of want to switch gear and talk about these collectors out there now. When I was told that people on this specific forum, that, no, there's 20, 25 people that have a sealed box complete collection or complete loose cartridges or half and half mix. I was warned not to reach out to them. I was asked to not ask them to participate. I was told to refrain from mentioning them. What do you think about that?
What is it, like a cult? Like Eyes Wide Shut?
I don't get it. I mean, it's like, okay, I'm going to be skeptical then, because everybody's been skeptical to us. It's like, well, how do we know that they have these collections? Did they just post a list online and we're taking their word for it because they have, a million tweets or something? I was told that some of them have moved on to better things, that, you can, private message them all you want, you won't get in contact with them. Okay, so, I don't understand why they're so hard to access. What do you think, man?
I think that's kind of strange. I mean, one of the things I want to do is, I would hope everyone who has a love for retro games, just we all share that passion. So we should all come together, right? I don't understand where there's like you said, I guess there's collectors out there who are just snobby, if you will. I mean, that I don't get, Rob. I really don't understand. I mean, I have such a love for video games, all video games, and I share that with all my friends. And I think it's great. I love all the shows on YouTube. I think they're all great. Um, Again, they're just video game cards. I mean, it's like the guy who has Amazing Fantasy 15. I mean, that's amazing, but do you need the secret password to get in to take a look at it? You have to be a certain level of collector. I think that's kind of silly, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, they come across as like recluse. They go out of their way to make it known that they have these collections,
But
but
you
that
can't see it, right?
but you
Yeah.
can't see it. It's like, oh, behind this curtain, I've got the most amazing thing, but you can't see it. But you just got to know it's
Yeah.
behind this curtain. And I want to find these people. I'm really interested. I'm glad that people have the complete collection. I'll take them at face value. I just want to
Yeah.
talk to them. I want to see what advice they have for you. The biggest thing that people are saying is, oh, you'll never either find them all, but we know you can find them all because these people have the whole collection, and that you'll never
Yeah.
be able to afford them all. Well, how do they know what you can afford and not? So we'll worry about that one later. You mentioned one thing, like the guy who has like a amazing Fantasy 15, which is the first appearance of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Zeus. I went to some shops today just to kind of get the word out on the campaign and stuff, and I was talking to some store people, and they said, I asked them, so do you guys have anything special that's not on display? They're like, oh, you mean like what's in the vault? Like, what do you mean?
The vault.
The
Oh, the
vault.
vault.
I'm like, you guys have a vault? Like, oh yeah, we got a vault in the back, but it's like for collectors only. I said, so you don't put stuff out on display for everybody to see? No.
Okay, well, I will defend that, Rob, and
Sure.
say that let's say you have a gold Nintendo World Championships, you're not going to display that behind the counter. You know, you got to put that somewhere secure because
Okay,
it's
but
worth a cash, right?
this is a
So,
store. You're in the business of doing business. Are you trying to sell stuff? I mean, if it's your own personal collection, great. Take it home.
yeah.
Why have it in the back? Like, at least put a sign say, ask to see our collection, like our reserve
That's right.
collection.
I agree with you there. If it's something to the caliber of that cart, then you should, if it's for sale, you should say, I do have it, ask to see it. But
Okay, here's an example. The Vault today,
Yeah.
they had Mega Man 5 sealed, boxed.
okay.
Big deal? Your thoughts?
I mean, it's cool. I mean,
Like, this was
It's
like
still
me,
stuff-
like,
this-
first of all, I said, do you have anything special? There was an exchange between the two people. Then they looked at me as if they had to size me up. I had to talk about the documentary. They're like, well, yeah, we got Mega Man 5 sealed.
I mean, that's cool. Any NES game sealed is pretty cool.
Totally.
To be honest with you, but I mean, yeah, to kind of snub you or snub you, I guess the word would be.
I don't feel it. I'm not so concerned with the snobbiness, or I don't feel like excluded or like not good enough. I find it fascinating that the store is divided into two sections. Like, there's a curtain that only certain people can go back there, and it's like, what I'm more concerned, like, or excited, like when we go to shops, like what kind of vaults are we gonna find? Like, we go into a normal shop that most people are normal to see, but do they know about the secret passageway behind the bookcase? That's what excites me. I mean, maybe I'm coming across as like interested or like concerned that there's this level of collecting that only certain people. Sure, there is a bit of that, but I think it's interesting that that kind of thing's out there.
Well, and let me just say, going back again to stadium events, I have no doubt in my mind that that's the kind of place where we're going to find it if we do come across it, because with the internet, everybody has access to everything all the time, anywhere. So these games, maybe 10 years ago, that were hard to find or no one really knew about, that doesn't exist anymore. I mean, it's you can go to the flea market here or there, but again, you're dealing with resellers. There's not a lot of people that just put that stuff out and don't know its value. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I mean,
Yeah,
at least in
it's
my
rare
experience,
that you find something of value without an associated price tag on that value, because people are just so smart now, like the internet, and that's kind of gaming's changed because of the internet as a whole. And I'd love to talk about that in the doc. Apparently, it's almost time to go, I guess. The big thing is the mystery continues, guys. There's collectors out there and secret special customer shops. I'm going to keep going and kind of in depth on this kind of rogue journalist style to see if I can get in contact with these collectors, to see if we can get some more info on how many shops that we might plan to go to have these special rooms. And Hang on 1 second. No, hang on. I just got a message. Okay. This is weird. Okay, so look, I reached out to one of these collectors, and I said the pitch, the pitch, one guy, 30 days, 700 games, looking for any advice. And the thing I just got back was, what are you trying to prove? So I'm just going to leave it at that. I think it's interesting that this Shadow Jedi Council is like, it's interesting. We'll leave it at that. The story continues. The plot
Listen,
thickens.
I'm going to say this. Let me say this.
Sure.
All right? Video games are for fun. This is something fun that we want to do. I don't understand. Like, this isn't like, I'm not challenging anybody. I'm not saying my collection is better than anybody else's. We're doing it for fun. And it's never been filmed before. So that's why we're doing it. That's all. It's just for fun. Well,
clearly
get stadium events.
Clearly the plot continues to thicken. Jay, thanks for taking a few minutes with me. I appreciate it. Zeus and George, the two dogs here, they appreciate it. Kickstarter Nation, we appreciate your support. Please continue to pledge. Every bit really does help. We're barely ahead of the curve where we need to be. We know it's a long stretch, so please, $1, $2, $5, $1,000, it really helps. And we look forward to seeing your questions online on Facebook, on Twitter. Ask Jay or myself. We'll keep doing more updates like this, and we will answer your questions. Really appreciate all the discussion on this, guys. Good, bad, skeptical or not. We really thank you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.